You're listening to the Pesky Report, a podcast dedicated to the Boston Red Sox by Red Sox fans. The Pesky Report is happy to announce that we will be sponsored by High and Happy Catering out of Springfield, Massachusetts. High and Happy Catering creates gourmet meals for small or large events with a twist. All of their meals are cannabis infused. If you are looking to have a real happy meal, call them at 413-785-8999 or search for them on Instagram at High and Happy Catering. You'll be happy you did.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Pesky Report. This is episode number 97. We are brought to you by Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and check them out at bellyupsports.com. Tons of podcasts on there, football, racing, and everything in between. With me today, I have my co-host, as usual, Hogdale and Brady. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Immaculate. How about you, Brady?
I'm just kind of upset that you announced the wrong episode number. This should be episode 34. You
had me scared there for a second. Did I really fuck it up?
I honestly couldn't be happier. I was so glad to hear the good news last night. It was awesome.
Fantastic news. Also, I didn't realize this until I was actually playing the video. Guess how many seconds that video was?
34.
Yeah.
It fucking was, dude.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Check this out. Here, I'll show you.
Oh my god.
Now it's gonna be stupid.
Can I mention something?
Look.
Are you throwing the thing?
It's 34.
That's awesome.
Great.
You want to hear something horrible but hilarious?
Sure.
Some dumb fucking sports website today tweeted out because Kobe died 2 years ago today. And so they were like, Kobe Bryant died 2 years ago today. Right now, the Lakers are 24 and 24, and they're in the 8th seed in the Western Conference.
Fucking Christ, dude. That's like...
What the
fuck are we doing here? Why would you even bring that up?
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's a terrible...
That's relevant.
It's so,
that's
so horrible.
It's almost the worst tweet of the day, which we now have a new segment, everybody. We're not going to start it right now, but Ryan Brady wanted to bring on a segment called the worst tweet of the day. It's probably going to be the worst tweet of the week is what we're going to end up doing, but that'll be further down into the episode. As of right now, what I wanted to talk about was the big news that happened last night on January 25th, 2022. David Ortiz became the first and only so far first ballot Hall of Famer for the Red Sox with multiple World Series championships. I actually received some shit for posting that, and they were like, "No, Pedro had a championship." I was like, "But I said plural."
Got him on technicality. Let's go.
It really was like I actually was meaning to put 3 World Series championships, but I said championships. So there's the plural there. So I did get him with the technicality there. And I don't know, man. I'm fucking pumped. I'm really happy that Ortiz was a first ballot Hall of Famer. I would have definitely understood it if he had to wait a year or whatever. I think it would have been stupid, but I would have understood it. Before we go further into this with Poppy and whatnot, I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite David Ortiz moment? Oh, Brady just fucking disappeared. What happened to this fucking clown?
Yeah, it's probably his internet. But as far as my favorite Big Poppy moment, I think it's undebatably, what game was it? I think it was Game 3, the 2013 ALCS. That
Game 2.
Game 2? Yeah, because I remember they were down in the series.
They were down they were down 0-1.
Okay, yeah, Game 2.
It was the Joaquin Benoit.
Yeah, 2013 ALCS, Game 2. Dude, that grand slam. I remember watching that game. That's the first year I really got super, super invested as a baseball fan. I was fucking losing my mind watching that. Because that Tigers team was so good, and going down 0-2 in that series would have been disastrous. Yep. And Big Poppy with that, so as usual, so clutch, most clutch player in the history of the Boston Red Sox.
There's going to be one word. There's going to be one word on his plaque that writers are not going to want to hear or see, and it's going to be clutch.
I mean, it's truthfully, is there a better postseason hitter ever? Genuinely,
statistically, I'll go through that a little later. No,
right? Especially he got better as the rounds went later. His numbers in the World Series are just unmatched. He
has the highest career batting average in the World Series, the highest on base percentage of anyone to ever play in the World Series, and the second highest slugging percentage. He almost has the fucking triple crown in World Series. I mean, what the fuck? He's on an island by himself. Yep. Fuck Mickey Mantle. Fuck all that shit. It's Big Poppy. We got to see it. He's our guy, and he did it in Boston, and he didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. Motherfucker did it 3 times, and he was always the guy.
Truthfully, he's the best DH ever. I'd take him over Edgar Martinez in a heartbeat. Edgar
Absolutely.
Martinez was amazing. In the clutch, I mean, really, there's not that many people in the history of baseball who, bottom of the 9th in the World Series, you want more than David Ortiz. It's him. It's him, and I don't know. I'll hear a few other arguments for whoever, Barry Bonds in 04.
I was about to say, I could think, I don't know how many times David Ortiz was walked with the bases loaded, but having fucking Barry Bonds up with the bases loaded would be pretty fucking.
That one year the Bonds went to the World Series. If you look at his playoff run, it's just wacky, video game numbers.
Brady, so I don't know if you heard me before you had to back out real quick. I was asking, what were your favorite memories of David Ortiz?
I mean, there's a hell of a lot.
Pick one.
The one, David Ortiz gave me more joy in a 16-hour period in my life than I think I could ever get. Watching him beat the Yankees in Game 4 and then again in Game 5, he gave swag to the Red Sox. He gave confidence to a fan base. Nobody does that shit. He's the only player in the history of baseball to ever have 2 walk-off hits in back-to-back postseason games. It's only him. That gives me goosebumps every time I see it. He's fucking amazing.
So I'm gonna pick a couple because you guys decided to. My absolute my favorite Poppy moment actually wasn't with him hitting. It was with the microphone. The moment he got on the microphone and he was thanking everybody, and then he goes, "This is our fucking city."
Yes.
The fact that he dropped the F-bomb, granted, it was all about the bombing and everything, but he dropped the F-bomb. It wasn't bleeped out. The FCC was asked about it and whatnot, and they were like, we can't find the guy. Like he was showing emotions towards what had happened to the city that he considered his own. I mean, like when you think of David Ortiz, do you think of the fucking Mariners? No. Do you think of the fucking Twins? Absolutely not. You think of the Boston Red Sox, and like that's where his career was, and he became that big, that person. So that is probably my favorite David Ortiz moment without him having like a bat or being up at the plate, you know? So I got to say, this is our fucking city is my favorite moment. But I also have to agree with Hogdale when it came to the Torrey Hunter home run or grand slam. There are three things in that grand slam that stick out.
I know what you're going to say.
Torrey Hunter going over the wall.
Like
I can't wait.
Actually, there's four technically, but one, Torrey Hunter going over the wall.
It's great.
Two, the bullpen catcher catching the ball and like just looking at Torrey Hunter fall over the wall. Three,
It's coming. I can't wait till you do it.
the fucking police officer.
That's the one.
And none of that would have happened. And I've actually met the police officer, and I have pictures with him. And he does that pose every time he takes pictures with people.
What a legend!
And yeah, he is a legend. I don't think he's the bullpen cop anymore. But I mean, all of that happened because David Ortiz had a grand slam, and he hit a game-tying grand slam in the bottom of the eighth. Well, like,
shocker.
Yeah, right. Shocker. David Ortiz hits I think he had like 10 walk-offs or some shit like that in the postseason or some shit. I don't remember what it was saying. I read something earlier today. It was like he had 10 walk-offs and fucking like ridiculous amount of fucking RBIs in the postseason.
You know what's crazy is when you're watching him, you knew you were watching a living legend. Like that's not hyperbole. That's it. You were watching history happening over and over again. And the other thing, Ed brought this up, in our chat. I was there at the playoff game. It was Big Papi's last game, and when he got, I don't remember if it was a hit or a walk in his last plate appearance, but he got on base. And Sox were down, and they pinch ran for him because he couldn't run anymore. They needed the run. He stood on that front fucking step, cheering. And, I mean, they lost the game, but man, when he came out, tears in the hand, and just giving to the crowd. I mean,
yeah, he walked out and he was surrounded by all the photographers. Like I've never seen that before. There were typically, when something like that happens, there's like maybe 10 photographers, 15 photographers at most. Like this dude had like 50 photographers around him. And like you could tell that he was holding back the tears.
He didn't. He wasn't. He tried, but he failed. That Big Papi, big emotion came out, and it was cool because I'm sure a few people left, but that stadium was pretty fucking full. They waited. It was about a good 20 minutes after the game.
Yeah, they said that there was about 25,000 people still there.
Yeah.
I was actually
when he retired, like it hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me so much.
It did. It really sucked. I mean, as a person who didn't really start getting into like baseball as like serious, I didn't start getting serious into baseball until 2013. Like my very first game was the day before the bombing. So like the bombing and all of that surrounded that means something to me. Granted, it means more to the people that were there the day of the bombing and things like that. And when the Red Sox came back and whatnot, that year meant so much to me. I went to my first, I think I went to 6 or 7 games that year. And it was so cool. I got to watch the Red Sox. I got to Papi hit a couple homers in some of the games that I went to. It was fun, you know. And the memories like of 2004 and what he did in 2004 and he's done ever since. I remember there was times where he had like rocky starts. You know, he was having some bad starts this season. He would come out of spring training and he wouldn't be all piss and glory. He'd be like struggling. Like there was times where he wouldn't be hitting his first fucking home run for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they were talking about possibly sending him down and shit like that. And it's like, you think about that now, it's like, you can't imagine David Ortiz like not being the DH.
No,
So,
No.
There was the one year they actually it pained me as a Red Sox fan to see the fans, they were booing him. He was injured, and at one point they did finally pinch hit Mike Lowell in a spot. Dave Ortiz, and he's just the kind of guy that, for me, really, he could really just truly do no wrong. I mean, he just came through over and over and over and over again. And, I read this, I didn't say this, but, somebody else tweeted it and said, he's not the best player in the history of the Boston Red Sox, but he's the most important. And I'm sure, some people want to argue and say, but when you look and see, I mean, he changed the culture of an entire franchise, fan base, a team that could not win for 86 years to a confident organization.
was that in 2010 when he got pitch hit?
Sounds right.
It was, yeah. It was April 21st of 2010 against the Rangers.
Yeah.
What hurt more about like when Poppy retired too is he's still like, if he wanted to keep playing, he had a few more years in him. He was so fucking good in his retirement year. Like as a 40-year-old man, I think he hit like 35 home runs and had like 100 doubles.
I think the problem was the weight, his weight and his feet.
Yeah.
I know he had problems with his feet. Mm-hmm. And I remember, so like you guys are a huge like David Ortiz fans. I'm a huge David Ortiz fan, but I started like getting pissed off at him towards the end of his career because of the fact that like when they were playing National League teams, he would complain. He would be like, I'm not playing first. I'm not playing first. I'm the designated hitter. It's like, my thought is dude, you're getting fucking paid this money. You're playing fucking first because we need your goddamn bat. We need your bat in the lineup. It's not because we don't need you or, we just need a first baseman there. We need your fucking bat in the lineup. That's what happens. And I was the person who was like, suck it up, Buttercup, But now, like looking back, it's like, I understand it. I understand it now. Back then, I was pissed off.
Well, I just don't care that much, especially if you're in the regular season. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah, I think he was doing one of those, if I play in an aggravated situation, especially with his feet, it was a problem for such a long time that, I think it was just trying to get, more productivity and, staying on the field for a greater period of time. Brad, I've probably been over to like, it's got to be well over 100 Red Sox games in my life. And I only ever caught one foul ball. That was it, just one. And it was in the playoffs. I think it was in 2003. I'm almost positive. Irvin Santana was pitching for the Angels, and Big Poppy's up at the plate. And I'm on the first baseline and near the pesky pole. And I hear,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The pesky pole. I was near the pesky pole. And I hear the balls hit in our direction, and you can hear it, kind of, flying in. And then you hear a thud, right? And you're looking all around, whatever. And it just rolled underneath my wife's seat. And I was like, oh, here you go, babe. Here's Dave Ortiz ball. And about 3-4 minutes later, guy comes down and he goes, hey man, can I have the ball? And I'm like, no, it's I got it. And he said, yeah, look, my buddy, it hit him in the face.
Oh, fuck.
He's bleeding everywhere. Can you just give him the ball? And no, right?
Such a power move.
Right.
Holy shit.
As the game progressed, right, it's like the 8th inning, but like, let's say 10 minutes later, come on, Dick, give him the ball. Right. And it started up a little bit. So now as the game's about to finish, the Sox are going to win. I got the ball and the guys are starting to encroach. And it's just me and my wife. My parents are sitting in a whole different other section. And I'm like, fuck, I got to get out of here. So I told my wife, I'll meet you at the car, and they start following me. So this is a true story. So I go into the bathroom. I call my dad, and I'm like, we got to change. I was wearing a red jersey. He's wearing a blue one. So I'm like, we got to change a little bit. I changed jerseys real quick, and I'm like, I'll meet you at the car. I start walking out, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay. And then I hear, that's the guy with the ball. And I'm like, oh! And I'm fucking running. And I'm calling my dad. He goes, where are you? Get the car fucking ready. I jump in the fucking car. They're, maybe they're, I don't know, a football field behind me, but they're fucking running after me. We get in the car, get on the Mass Pike, get the fuck out of there. And when you get home and you look at the ball, I swear to God,
there's blood on it.
There's the guy's fucking blood right on it.
By the way, fuck that guy. Keep your head up, dipshit. You should have caught the ball.
Yeah, that's it. So I went to a game earlier last year, right? And Hunter Renfrow threw a ball out into the crowd. And there was a drunk guy there, and he literally did one of these, right, and completely missed the ball, and it smacked him right in the nose. And somebody else ended up getting. This dude was fucking like. When I say he was bleeding out of his nose, I think he broke his fucking nose, because Renfrow, he just chucked it in, like he did one of these. He didn't underhand it or whatever.
Yeah.
He actually threw it in, and this guy got hit right in the fucking noggin. In fairness, the guy was drunk, so he kind of deserved it, because he was he was razzing fucking Renfrow as well. So
Renfrow can't throw soft, right? Like, we've seen anything this year.
He's showing off the cannon, bro.
He doesn't, his soft toss is like a fucking missile, right?
But his soft toss is us throwing 80.
Oh, I'm throwing my arm out if I try to do his fucking soft toss. There's no question about it.
Right.
That's great. Some dude right in the schnoz. That's great.
Yeah. It was it was good. I was like, oh my fucking God, did you see that? It was fucking absolutely crazy. All right, let's get back to David Ortiz. So, fun fact, as most people know, David Ortiz was released by the Minnesota Twins. They were trying to find a team to trade him to, and they couldn't find anybody, so they released him. And he called up Pedro, or I believe Pedro called him up. I forget how the story goes. And then Pedro just tells Ortiz is upset, obviously so, rightfully so. I understand the situation. He's upset. He lost his job. He's like, I'm upset, blah, blah, blah. Pedro's like, oh, you'll be good. Pedro calls up Theo and says, hey, man, I think you should sign this guy. And Pedro's reasoning for wanting to sign him was so that he didn't have to face him. It's because earlier, I want to say it was in 2002, Pedro faced him or whatever. I don't remember what year it was.
He crushed it.
He fucking destroyed that inside pitch. And it was absolutely demolished. And Pedro's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't want to face this guy ever again. Some of David Ortiz's best home. I think the best home run that I've seen so far was it at the Tokyo Dome?
Yo, yeah.
The one where he hit it over 500 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Majestic.
Fuck. Yeah. It was upward, and everybody's just
he's got it an aluminum bat or some shit that.
That shit's corked up or whatever. I also saw earlier today that he beat Ken Griffey Jr. in a
A-Rod
Jr. and the A-Rod in a home run derby in the minors.
That's pretty sick.
That checks out. It sure does. One thing Lou Merloni tweeted today, people kind of forget he was released from the Twins not because he sucked. He actually hit in his last 70 games. He had over 300 with 26 homers in his last 70 games for a Twins team that won their division. It's just that Twins are perpetually cheap, and he was going to be an ARB2 player, and they just didn't want to pay it.
That's hilarious.
Right. So for all the he sucked till Boston. No, he was 26 years old and was coming into his own. And then he got a chance in Boston.
You ever heard of a late bloomer?
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is spring training, his first spring training with Francona. and Big Poppy's taking batting practice, and he keeps going opposite field. Francona calls him over and, what are you doing? Why aren't you pulling the ball? He goes, well, because we always have to hit the opposite field. What are you talking about? Well, the Twins organization preached we only go opposite field. That's what we do. So Francona asked him, said, I have a question, David. Are you a pussy? Yo, man, I ain't no fucking pussy. And he goes, well, then you pull the ball like a man. And that's it. And then he said, oh, we can do that here? He's like, fuck yeah, we can do that here.
Fucking Tino.
He changed his approach and the shackles were off. And, but
he called him a fucking pussy.
He asked a simple question.
He asked him.
Are you a pussy?
Yeah, are you a pussy? And he was like, no, I ain't no fucking pussy, man. And they said, well, then you pull the ball. And
you pulled
that worked.
Absolutely amazing.
That checked out.
That does check out.
That definitely fucking checked out.
That's such a Tito story.
Oh man, that's great. We got any other Ortiz stories that we want to share before we start smashing the fucking Baseball Writers Association of America, or do we want to just get into like fucking destroying them?
I would also like to destroy a lot of Yankee fans as well at some point. Thank you.
We'll let you do that when we do the bad tweet of the week. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
So, Hogdale, do you have anything that you want to add when it comes to Big Papi?
No, I think we got it all covered. Legend of the game. We love him. He's our guy.
The stories about like Dustin Pedroia trying to fight him. Those are fucking hilarious. Heard those from the John Lester interview with Section 10. Shout out to those guys. Jared Carabas, we still want you to come on the show.
Yep.
That is a thing. Like we
love you, bud.
We're serious.
That checks out.
That definitely checks out. Mm-hmm. Read your messages.
He's busy. Oh, damn it. Anyway.
He's busy doing other better podcasts than ours.
Okay.
Self-deprecation. Here we go. That's great.
All right.
Did you ever see the commercial with is it Brian Urlacher? Is that how you say it? Is it?
Yeah.
It's Urlacher.
Yep.
And Big Papi. It's a Gatorade commercial, and I'm pretty sure they're playing badminton, and they take like a swig of Gatorade, and I think it's Big Papi when he hits it, he like fucking sends a missile through the net and like sends it on fire, and he's like, oh, sorry, or something like that. Fucking great commercial.
I can never think of Brian Urlacher seriously since Tom Brady like juked him out of his shoes at one time.
Hold on.
Or the ESPN commercial with A-Rod when Wally walks by and he's showing Posada, how to bend and fold a hat because Posada never wears one because he's a catcher, and he's putting the Yankee hat on, he's bending it, and Wally goes by, he's like, Wally, it's not what it looks like, Wally, because he's wearing the Yankee hat. Wally, come back.
There's one last thing that I wanted to share with the David Ortiz tributes and everything else. This one, I believe, is probably one of the more hilarious David Ortiz things, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
This fucking ball.
Come on, Poppy. It was a strike.
That was definitely a ball, but
hey, clips on the strike zone.
That's great. Sox were winning 7-2 as well.
Like, honestly, I'm surprised he didn't get thrown out of the game.
I think he did. Nah, he does.
Oh, big naps up.
Oh no.
Yeah, he didn't. Almost got balls of steel. I respect it. No, that's where he gets thrown out. Right there.
You know that guy's like shitting his pants. This is my favorite fucking part right here. I think I just saw Pat Light.
Oh, you probably did.
John Farrell. Oh,
look at Petey. He's like, dude, chill.
Oh yeah.
It's so beautiful. Dude, Poppy was so shook. He was so fucking mad. Oh my god.
That's
Such
great.
a power play right there. Like, did you see fucking Pedroia? He's just like, whoa, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. You know,
Like-
they have other guys like Saltimaki is like, I'm not getting around that shit. Right.
Bro, his
Like,
jersey, his
fucking-
name barely fit in the jersey.
Dude, it went around the entire fucking thing. But
Yeah.
they ended up giving him that phone
Yeah, for the retirement
as a
gift.
fucking retirement gift. I thought that was the most fucking retarded thing that like, what else would you expect from the Orioles organization now? Like, they're not going to spend any money on their players. Why would they spend any money on giving someone a
No,
gift?
that shit was funny. I think the only better retirement gift than that was the one that like the Twins gave Mariano Rivera, where they gave him a rocking chair made out of like broken bats that he'd broken with his car.
That was
That's
that was
cool.
clever. That was fucking clever.
Yeah. No. Do you remember,
All right.
hey, Brad, the I wish if you can find it, it'd be great to bring it up. I think it's a 2013 World Series where they're down, things are not going well, and he marches up and down. Before Chris Sale ever did it, Big Papi did it first, right? And Big Papi fucking chews them the fuck out. And then I think they put up like a 5 spot that inning and then win the rest of the series. But in the middle of the 2013 World Series, he just goes full blown ape shit on the team and rallies the troops in a way that in baseball doesn't usually do that. It's more of a football move, maybe basketball. And it's fucking great. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Look at this Adonis of a man.
Yep. Calls a fucking huddle.
He did too.
Look, they're all there. It's like a spring training, Get your shit together. Let's fucking go. Yep. I mean,
That checks out.
with Sale, they joke around that nobody was really listening to Chris Sale. He was just yelling. But they made sure that, everyone was huddled, listened to Big Papi. And it's unbelievable.
What a guy.
He's the guy.
Oh boy.
Brad.
Wow. Why did you fucking asshole say something?
Because I didn't know, I forgot that the chat existed, so I didn't type it. So I'm sorry. I didn't want to mention it on the show because it's weird.
I thought it was
Yeah.
odd as well.
I thought I was just going crazy.
Well,
or
fuck me
something.
sideways.
I thought I was going crazy too, so I was like, I'm not gonna say some shit because
So nobody heard any of these fucking things, and it was like I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, we're gonna start the show with the phone call. So there's
so,
just,
like, can you hear
fucking
them?
mute for the first like 34 seconds of the show, and there's nothing shown, and all you guys are doing is just watching this thing. You can't hear it. Nobody decides to say, hey man, we can't hear this video.
Because every time I do, you rip me for being that I don't know how to do shit with tech. So then I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna say.
Brad, your bullying is finally caught up with you.
Oh man, I fucking hate you guys.
Oh, anyway.
This is our fucking podcast.
Motherfucker, fuck you. Yeah. All right, we had a voicemail earlier today. We actually got our very first voicemail. This is awesome. Very proud of this. It's about a 2-minute voicemail. We're going to play the entire thing, but we're going into a segment where we're going to be talking about the Baseball Writers Association of America. We're going to also be talking about Barry Bonds. We're going to be talking about Roger Clemens and Kurt Schilling. So with that being said, I'd like to share our one and only. Go fuck yourself, Hogdale.
What wasn't me? What did I do?
Well, fuck you too.
Fuck you, good dick.
fuck you guys. All right, hold on. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Barr, B-A-R-R. I'm a Red Sox fan who happens to live in New York.
Can you hear it?
Yes, we can hear this.
And I have to get my Twitter handle. I didn't think you were going to make me do that. My Twitter handle is. Yeah, it shows you how often I use Twitter. At Red Palace Cossacks. And I'm calling about a point Kurt Schilling made about David Ortiz and the fact that he really didn't test positive for anything at any time, and it's true. And the reason why that's true is that the survey test samples were subject to a government raid. The government raided the lab where the samples were kept. The raid was led by Jeff Nowitzki, who was the FDA investigator who was trying to prove PED use in baseball. The samples were taken, retested to Food and Drug Administration standards, and that was the evidence that they were trying to use against Barry Bonds in his trial. The judge in that case threw out that attempt to introduce as being illegally obtained and not reliable. So anybody's trying to use that so-called survey test, it doesn't hold water.
Holy water.
Because, as that judge indicated, it was retested to standards that were not negotiated as conditions of the survey test. He never tested positive for anything when testing, and therefore the Schilling tweet is amazingly accurate in that regard. Thank you very much. Bye.
What a polite guy.
Yeah, very polite. Thank you so much, Kenneth. Again, his Twitter handle is Red Palace Cossacks. He is from New York, and Brady's from New York, so he wants to meet Kenneth. If we added you so that we can, or we followed you, so if you follow us back, Brady would like to get in contact with you and get together possibly with a fellow New Yorker.
Safety in numbers, yes.
Safety.
Gentlemen, what are our thoughts on what Ken had to say about the Kurt Schilling tweet?
Oh, he
I don't know
raised,
did you guys see the tweet?
Oh, yeah. He was
Okay.
defending Poppy in it, wasn't he?
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, he raises a great point. That test against Poppy was not credible. And I try to point out anytime I talk about him in regards to, David Ortiz getting in the Hall of Fame. It's a good thing that most of the voters seem to agree. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself, is that's why they did that instead of well, he was nice to us, so we're going to let him in. But, I'll hold it off for a little bit from now. What do you think about the situation, Brady?
I think Rob Manfred, one of the few good things he's ever done is, when he took office, he did come out and refuted, kind of back Big Papi and said that there was definitely false positives on that test, and that it's very likely that David Ortiz was a false positive, and that, no, it should not be used against him at all, because the truth really is they were testing for illegal drugs, amphetamines, steroid. It wasn't just one thing. So if he tested positive for amphetamines, and that's what, then Hank Aaron should not be in the Hall of Fame, right? That we don't really know if he even did. And if he even did, they can't say what he tested positive for. And they could never replicate another positive test in his entire fucking career. Well, in any job, if they told you that you tested positive for a substance and you did not do it, and you said, hey, test me again right now, and you never test positive ever again, then what the fuck are we doing here?
So I was listening to Will Middlebrook's podcast this morning. He had John Hammond on, and it's called Wake and Rake. I believe that's what it's called. And great podcast. Anybody want to listen to some baseball podcasts with other baseball minds, check them out. Will Middlebrooks obviously is an ex-baseball player. But he brought up a great point. He was like, he had never seen anybody get tested as much as David Ortiz did. I mean, the guy would get tested all the time, and he didn't fail any drug test ever since it was implemented in 2004. And that's another thing that I want to bring up is like, we have, I don't know how you guys feel about it, and I'm just going to start off by saying this. It's like not having Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in the Baseball Hall of Fame makes the Hall of Fame voting process look like an absolute fucking joke.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Brad. Took the words out of my fucking mouth. Yeah, the truth is the whole process is a fucking sham. You don't have debatably the greatest hitter and pitcher in the history of baseball in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, totally. Great process. Good job, guys. Great Hall of Fame. You really made it.
It's so what they're doing is they're like, okay, they're acknowledging, the fact that they possibly did steroids. You don't know for a fact. I mean, we can all assume, right, that they did steroids, whatever. But my thing with the whole steroid era is the fact that MLB gained so much more out of these players doing steroids than the players actually gained. You can say that the players got money, this, that, and the other thing, but you got to remember there was a strike. Was it 95? 94, 95?
I think so.
Right? So there was a strike. They came out of the lockout, right? And they lost a lot of fans. They lost a lot of people paying attention to MLB, to watching baseball and whatnot. Then you got these guys juicing up like McGuire and Sosa. I believe it was like 98, was it? I'm not 100% sure what year it was. But you had Sosa, you had McGuire. They were chasing the Maris record. That ended up putting, like, I don't know about you guys, but I was paying attention to the Cubs. I was paying attention to the Cardinals. I wanted to see these guys and see what they were going to do. I wanted to see that if Mac was going to hit, number 48. I wanted to see Sosa hit number 49. Things like that. I wanted to see these guys go back and forth with their home run numbers. And you had so many people paying attention to this, and you had people dishing out money. You had Red Sox fans watching Cardinals games. You had Yankee fans watching Cubs games. I mean, you won't see that happening now.
Oh, yeah. And, Bud Selig and the MLB, they actively encouraged players to use steroids. They didn't discourage it. And the fact that Bud Selig, the dude who oversaw the steroid era and encouraged players to do it pretty much without consequence, got into the Hall of Fame, it's a fucking joke. And it's ridiculous.
I agree with what you're both saying, because 100% Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame, Bond should be in the Hall of Fame, and I'll argue till I'm blue in the fucking face, Curt Schilling belongs in the Hall of Fame.
100%.
Having said that, though, for me, I'm focused on it's bullshit, but I'm really glad that at least 77 point whatever percent had enough fucking wherewithal to see a generational hitter in David Ortiz.
I believe, in all honesty, that if Bonds and Clemens were on the ballot for even say another year, I think they get in.
You're probably right. I don't want to take away from the achievement of David Ortiz because of the asshole writers, blackballing Bonds and Clemens and Schilling. Like, that's its own fucking problem. And I'm sure that the what is it called? The players, when they have a vote, I think it's the players committee, the veterans committee,
is the veterans committee.
Yeah. They'll get them in and they'll make things right. I would assume that that's what's going to happen, but
I believe so. I'm hearing different things here. I was told that I was reading that they're going to vote on that situation in December of this year. But then somebody else told me that it's not until 2023. So
I think
I'm not sure.
Wait. Oh, you have to wait a little while. There's a period of time that goes by until players. It's 10 years where you're on the ballot. then there has to be a certain amount of time until the Veterans Committee is allowed to vote them in. And, that's the only thing that really sucks is because, I get conflicted. I love the fact that Big Papi's getting the spotlight to himself. Love it, love it, love it, love it. But having said that, if you think Roger Clemens doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, you just haven't watched enough baseball. If you think Barry Bonds doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, you haven't watched enough baseball. And Kurt Schilling, just stop.
If you don't think Barry Bonds doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, you're just wrong. I just hate to say it. But before Bonds even did steroids, he's the only player in baseball's history to have 400 home runs and 400 stolen bases. Also, I'm pretty sure he had 5 or 6 seasons with an OPS above 1,000. Can we fucking stop? And also, elite Gold Glove fielder every year doing that. I hate it, dude. Can we just call the double standard for what it is when it comes to these players who do PEDs, and that if you're nice to the media, you get in, but if you're a fucking asshole, then and only then you get held out? Because Pudge Rodriguez had no issue getting in. Oh, well, he was a friendly guy, nice to the media. Same with Mike Piazza. So these guys get in. Big Papi gets in. Obviously, his story shit is very tenuous at the least, but he was a super nice guy. No one dislikes Papi. First ballot. And you made a good point, Brady, that you shouldn't have to drag down David Ortiz to call out these fucking idiot garbage writers who pretty much held Bonds and Clemens out on a grudge because he wedgied them and a couple of their friends back when they covered him. You guys, these reporters, you guys are such fucking cowardly loser geeks. I hate all of them. And I don't know how anyone takes the Hall of Fame seriously, dude. I don't.
So I want to read a tweet that Clemens made earlier today, or he made last night about the Hall of Fame and being snubbed. He goes, "Hey y'all." Love the fact she said y'all.
Yeah, Texas.
Hey y'all. I figured it's funny because he was born in fucking Ohio. Hey y'all, I figured I'd give y'all a statement since it's that time of the year again. My family and I put the Hall of Fame in the rear view mirror 10 years ago. I didn't play baseball to get into the Hall of Fame. I played to make a generational difference in the lives of my family, then focus on winning championships while giving back to my community and the fans as well. It was my passion. I gave it all I had the right way for my family and for the fans who supported me. I am grateful for that support. I would like to thank those who took the time to look at the facts and vote for me. Hopefully everyone can now close this book and keep their eyes forward, focusing on what is really important in life. All love. And then he put up the I love you fucking sign or whatever. So, the passion for it, he named all of his kids with K's. So he was passionate. he was super passionate about all that. Okay, how many kids did he have? He had 4 kids. They all I'm surprised he didn't change his name to K. Rogers, K. Clemens.
Man,
what's up with your dog, dude?
She's yawning. I can't wait for someone to come at me and say that. They mentioned the character clauses why Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame, as if 60 or 70% of the Hall of Fame isn't made up of wife beaters and racists. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait. It's so cool.
Yeah, Ed actually called somebody out for saying he said something about that, about how there's racist and wife beaters in the Hall of Fame, and nobody even bats an eye. Brady brought it up earlier. Willie Mays and Hank Aaron admitted to doing drugs, amphetamines, while they played, and nobody bats an eye at them. And the reason for that is because they were great during their time. So if they were great during their time and nobody's batting an eye, why is it that we're going to leave the home run king? I don't care what anybody fucking says. Barry Bonds is the home run king. Doesn't matter steroids or not. He's the fucking home run king.
All I'm saying is that there's a reason that baseball hasn't scrubbed him or put an asterisk next to him being number 1 as the home run king, because they know that most of the people on that list also use steroids. Just saying.
Hey, Brad, I just did a little investigative work here, and the first thing you said is correct. December is the first crack for the Veterans Committee. It's comprised of now 16 people, whether former players, umpires, executives, and you need 12 of the 16 committee vote. to get in. So we
after
don't.
that, what happens if you don't get that?
I think you have that for a certain period of time.
Okay.
And I don't think that time is more than like a year or two, because you do look at guys who are getting in late now, much later. Jim Rice, I believe, was a Veterans Committee guy as well. But it does happen. And usually, executives that are respected in the game, could be a Theo Epstein or kind of guy where having a voice is. I think Theo was the kind of guy that would go, of course, Barry Bonds should be in the fucking Hall of Fame. And hopefully they get it right. They got it wrong. Without question, they got it wrong. And it sucks. It does suck. But in the end, as long as they get in and they get their, the proper choice, then that's what should happen. But it sucks.
All right, gentlemen.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna quickly mention. I just I hate that Bonds has to get into the fucking Veterans Committee, dude. It irritates me because we have like the Veterans Committee to thank for Harold Baines being in the Hall of Fame. That's them.
that's whatever. All right, guys. I want to talk. We had a couple of text messages come through, and I want to read them aloud. One of them was, this person decided not to give a name. So I said I would just give their area code and not their phone number. Maybe I should just give their phone number out, right?
No.
Nope. That does not check out. No, I wouldn't do that.
That's doxing.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That does not check out.
No.
Anyways, what they text?
So this texter was from 516 area code. I believe that's actually a Massachusetts area code. Not sure.
Hell yeah.
Fire.
But they had stated, they said, shouldn't have been a debate regarding David Ortiz, Clemens, and Bonds. Each know they were a couple of the greatest to ever play the game. The real tragedy is Schilling's omission. His baseball marriage get him inducted, no problem. So that means the writers kept him out for personal reasons. Voting system needs a major overhaul. Most of the voters probably didn't even play Lassie League.
Dude, the Hall of Fame, like getting in there, is decided by a conclave of scrawny nerds with an axe to grind. Like, genuinely makes me ill. Like, it just fucking makes me sick.
Schilling did come out and say, and I did my tirade on the way the Red Sox that I feel have treated Schilling, not long ago, but he did come out and say, if he's given a choice, if he gets in, he wants to go in as a Diamondback. And as a huge Sox fan, that really hurts. That he had 3.5 years and 1 ring in Arizona. He had 4 years and 2 rings in Boston, and the way that he's been treated now at the end. It sucks, because as a guy that lived through it and saw what the fuck Curt Schilling did, and to see him on his own accord, dude, him and Randy Johnson beat the Yankees. Like, let the record show that what they did was different.
Co-MVP of the 2001 World Series.
And there's never been a more accurate, real co-MVP. And like, those guys are starting one day, relieving the next day, and they just beat the shit out of a team that was much better than them, but you weren't better than those two pitchers. And in 04, he doesn't one.
That Diamondbacks team really was legendary. They won that World Series.
He does it on one fucking leg in 04. Who the fuck does that? And then in 07, he just says, I'll strap it on one more time and win another fucking ring. And
again, it's the fucking character clause, dude. It's stupid. Like, there's a bajillion wife beaters and racists. I don't give a fuck that Curt Schilling's an asshole. Who cares? I care about what he did on the field. He was an amazing ball player. He was clutch. Fucking move on. Grow up.
All right, we got
the problem I have with looking at like the asshole is it's always perspective, right? You know what I mean? Like, someone's an asshole who says, "Oh, I'm glad they're saying this is in the end." What the fuck is the point of a character clause? Because how well do we know the people? You don't. You know what the fuck you see, and that's it. It's stupid.
All right. So moving forward, we have another text message. Twitter handle Sven330690651. His name is Sir Sven. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but he sent a text message in that says, David Ortiz is much more than a ball player from Boston. He's not from Boston. He's actually from the Dominican Republic. But
Santo Domingo, represent.
He's shown us that and will forever be a New Englander. I agree there. It's just that simple. He never chased the dollar and stayed where his heart will always be forever. Big Papi isn't just a sport man. He's a hero who exemplified how a man should be on and off the field. Thoughts?
Oh, unbelievable. True in every facet. I hate that, like, that it's like a thing with the Red Sox, like a thing we complained about before, but like Big Papi really was underpaid for so many years. And for some reason, the Red Sox just hate paying their own, like, homegrown guys and their guys. Like, they don't want to pay them money, and it just irritates me.
Brady?
He's it's spot on. You know, he's a adopted New Englander, carries himself that way. Definitely underpaid throughout. He did gripe though a few times about his contract. I will say that over the years.
That was another thing that I was just like, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. For years they just refused to pay him like what he was worth. And
no. And I don't like that, but I don't love also airing out your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Yo, I love Big Papi, but that's not the best choice. That's all.
Right. Exactly. I 100% agree there. Papi is and forever will be Massachusetts. He will forever be Boston. He will forever be a New Englander. I forgot to add one thing. I was going through a breakup with my ex-fiance, and one of the only things that helped me get through it was watching baseball. And right after the breakup, I ended up going to a Red Sox game. I left work. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Boston. You know, I'll find a ticket online, whatever. So I bought a ticket. I went to a night game. As soon as I walked in, Papi hits a home run.
Hell yeah.
So I'm like, this is gonna be a good fucking game. So they ended up winning. My night was fantastic until I left the fucking ball game and the ex started fucking texting me and giving me shit. I was just like, fuck you. Brady, we have a time for you to do your segment. You wanted to air out about the New York Yankees and what happened during the David Ortiz Hall of Fame induction. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. Living in New York and being a Red Sox fan comes with its unique challenges. And honestly, I'm really kind of sad that most of the Yankee fans that I know, that I work with, that I'm friends with, you know, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, just to see so many Yankee fans forget and not show the same gratitude. You know, when Jeter left his last game at Fenway Park, standing ovation. When Mo plays his last appearance at Fenway Park, standing ovation. Big Papi was never embraced at all from the Yankee fan perspective of, wow, we hate him because he's so good. And you know, just looking at some of the stats that when you take a look, that people will say who are you know, Yankee haters or excuse me, Yankee fans, Red Sox haters, that they'll say, well, David Ortiz never played first base. Well, first off, that's not really true. He played 300 games at first, 2,000 at DH. And the reason being is, well, I don't know, in the beginning of his career, there was a first base in Minnesota named Doug Minkiewicz, who was a Gold Glove winning first baseman. Yeah. I mean, like, so what are you going to fault him now for doing that? You know, and the logic of, you know, well, the DH, how many DHs ever really get in the Hall of Fame? It's ridiculous, right? Well, what about Mariano Rivera? How many closers are in the Hall of Fame? Not too many. Right about now, we're respecting that a closer is a unique position. How did Giancarlo Stanton do as the DH for the Yankees? Pretty fucking horrible. How did he do when they put him in the field? Well, all of a sudden his bat woke up because he couldn't handle sitting on the bench for 45 minutes or an hour waiting between at bats. It's not an easy fucking thing to do. But when you look at what he accomplished in his career, there are only 9 other players in the history of the baseball who are worth more runs above average than David Ortiz. Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, Manny Ramirez, A-Rod, Miguel Cabrera, Gary Sheffield, Mark McGwire, Joey Votto, and Mike Trout. That's it. That's the list. Ortiz has the 17th most home runs of any player in baseball history. He also had more home runs on the road than at Fenway, because Fenway is a doubles park, not a home run. So he would be even higher up on that one. He has the 12th most doubles in the history of baseball. There are only two other players with over 500 homers and 600 doubles. That's Albert Pujols and Hank Aaron. That's pretty fucking elite company. So for every asshole that says he doesn't belong in, just fucking read a little bit. Ortiz's 1,102 extra base hits are tied with Ken Griffey Jr., a Hall of Famer, for the 8th most in the history of Major League Baseball. Only Hank Aaron, Bonds, Stan Musial, Albert Pujols, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, and A-Rod have more extra base hits than David Ortiz. Shut the fuck up. He has seven Silver Sluggers, the most ever by a DH, 10 All-Star election, 5 consecutive top 5 finishes in the MVP voting, and this one's my favorite one. There's a statistic that's called win probability added, which measures situational hitting and especially gives you credit for hits that affect the likelihood of winning or losing in a game. So we would define it as clutch at bats. And in his 85 playoff games, David Ortiz delivered a 3.2 WPA, which is the most for any postseason hitter in the history of playoff baseball, which basically says in every clutch situation that of all the history of the fucking baseball, there literally is no one that's ever been better. And I'm sorry, fuck yourself with Mickey Mantle. Fuck yourself with Derek Jeter. The truth is they're all great in their own right, but they're just not as good. They weren't as clutch when it really mattered. And I know that the mystique, the aura, the 26 rings that you can shove up your fucking ass, the truth really is you didn't have the best player.
It was 26 rings in one watch.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's right. One pocket watch. But the truth is, Yankee fans like to think they have the best of everything. They had Babe Ruth, they have the best closer, they have this, but you didn't have the best clutch postseason hitter of all time. You didn't, and you never fucking will. He's in a league of his fucking own, and he deserves to be a first fucking ballot Hall of Famer. And I am proud that that enough of the voters got it right. Thank you, David Ortiz, because what you did was change a fucking franchise, and you made another franchise fucking scared because they're pathetic, because they can't actually sit there and tip their hat when Red Sox fans tip their hat to Yankee players and say, good job to you. They can't extend it back because you rock their fucking world. Who's your poppy? That's who the fuck it is. Thank you, David. Fucking thank you.
Spit. Spit, King. Spit.
All right, we got time. We have time for one more segment. We do have one new segment that we're going to do. We're going to try this for every episode. We are going to come out with the dumbest tweet of the week. And we're going to also, Brady, do you want to do it, or Hogdale, do you want to? Let's let you guys decide.
You already had one, Brady, didn't you?
I got one up.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
right.
Yeah. Please
Hogdale,
go ahead. And
you got next week.
we are not. Just so everybody's clear, just because we are giving out the dumbest tweet of the week, we are not giving out handle names. We don't want to show that these people who make their terrible. We're not going to let these people get noticed because of their dumb tweets. But this
Dare
one,
I say we call it the Dan Shaughnessy Award?
I wouldn't give this tweeter that type of approval. I wouldn't let him. That's like disrespectful to Dan Shaughnessy, and I fucking hate Dan Shaughnessy. So, Brady, go ahead and read your tweet and who it was to, not like the name or the handle or whatever, but you know what I mean.
Yep. So someone had a nice little tweet about Big Papi and getting in and kind of celebratory nature of, and the response to that tweet. And here goes the tweet of the week here. That in the response to David Ortiz getting the Hall of Fame was, imagine that, gets into the Hall of Fame without ever eating a Built Bar. End tweet.
Wow. Legendary.
Yep.
That's a generational tweet right there.
How many Shaughnessy's is that? Is that worth 3 Shaughnessy's? I don't know.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, how many Shaughnessy's is that?
Yeah.
That's
You know,
I feel like that's just disrespectful to Dan. Honestly,
not true. Dan Shaughnessy made a living on making outlandish takes, literally being a contrarian, and that's how he got attention.
But that's what I'm saying is like, as much as I hate Dan Shaughnessy, I know who tweeted this. I've seen I've communicated with said person before, on numerous occasions, and this is a terrible fucking tweet. This is literally probably. I don't know, man. We're probably gonna have to like put into like a document or some shit saying like how many terrible tweets there are, and then like pick which terrible tweet makes it for the month. So like at the end of the month, we'd be okay. Well, this is the terrible. Tweet
it's
of
like
the month.
how Center used to do like the not top 10, where it's like every time like the new one came up, like they do a vote on like is it worse than the one that came before it.
That's just fucking terrible. Like I kind of would have expected a little bit better.
It's just absent of thought, right? You know, like in the end, you're looking for insight or humor. It just had nothing. It wasn't funny. What's a Built Bar? I don't know. This moment brought to you by Built Bar. Like what?
Okay, I found another tweet. I kind of want to share this one.
Okay, go ahead, Brad.
This will probably end up. We should probably just pick like 3 stupid tweets of the week.
We all like get our own one.
Yeah, really.
I like that too.
This one was a response to a Will Middlebrooks post. Will Middlebrooks was asking, should Bud Selig be in the Hall of Fame? The players that benefited from steroids during the era are crucified. Why not the commissioner? Which I 100% agree. Why not the commissioner who was aware of it and applauded? It is applauded for the growth of the game in the late 90s and early 2000s. The tweet to this: why not? Zelig couldn't even spell the correct last name, and it was right there. Zelig was a great man. You're incorrect. This is already turning out to be a terrible tweet. Yet pales by comparison to Manfred, whose contribution to MLB exceeds Ortiz's exponentially. Not understanding what this has to do with the other thing, but whatever. Soon under Manfred's watch, we'll have 3-inning games, 5-second pitch clocks, and all teams making the playoffs, which begin in June.
Some major old man yells at cloud energy.
It's great.
Imagine having more than half a brain cell.
This person has probably less than a quarter brain cell. It's ridiculous. I can't believe somebody would actually tweet things like that. It's amazing.
Drugs are bad.
Very, very bad. They make you stare at walls.
Dude, if you ask this person how many chromosomes you got, he'd be like, dude, I got so many chromosomes, bro. Got so many.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to end up calling this episode.
It's like Alfred Hitchcock.
It is.
I want to mention a couple things here to anybody that's listening to the podcast. Belly Up has started a TV with FXD, which isn't Fox, just so everybody knows. And we will be joining bellyup.tv on Saturdays. It'd be Saturday mornings. I actually have to get the timing. I forgot to get that. And we are also joining Burns Radio, which is part of Belly Up's radio network, and we will be broadcasting an episode between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Wednesday. I believe it's the 2nd. Yeah, we'll be doing that on the 2nd, and that will be weekly for a little while. and then we'll be rotating with other podcasts out there. So please go give us a listen on there as well. You can watch us there. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on all platforms. But just give us a listen there and check it out. And make sure to check out all the other podcasts that are on the Belly Up Network. Check out bellyupsports.com. And guys, as always, it's an absolute pleasure having the time to talk to you. Is there anything else that you guys want to add?
Fuck the BBWAA.
Congratulations, David Ortiz.
Absolutely. Congratulations, David Ortiz, and fuck Dan Shaughnessy.
Agreed.
Thank you for listening to the Pesky Report. Make sure to follow us on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Pesky Report. No matter what platform you're listening to us on, please make sure to leave us a review and a comment and let us know how we're doing. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
It's like a ball of wax, dude. I really hate looking at a wall. It's fucking annoying and terrible, and it's just like,